Uh, Hello and welcome back to another episode of Erickson Brothers Podcast, where we talk about the things we don't know the answers to and the possible returns on life's investment. So we are here after a 2 week 2 week hiatus due to uh, business obligations. So, but we're back. We've got a lot to catch up on, and we'll just get into it. Jeff, how are things? What's new? And let's just get it going.
Yeah. Yeah. So not last weekend, but 2 weekends ago, I was back in Grand Rapids, Michigan at my alma mater, um, supporting my girlfriend as she was graduating and watching rivalry week for the fellow Calvin Knights baseball team. So that was really fun. It's good to be back. And uh,
hmm
yeah, back in the swing of it. First full week back from that. And yeah, got a lot of good things going. What about you?
I was in San Francisco for work last Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Saw some friends on Sunday, so that was good. Then working Monday, Tuesday, had an absolute blast. Learning, hanging out with the company and the the people on my team. So been super busy. Works good, but yeah, we'll get into it. Uh so we had our presentation in this town outside of San Francisco, and then we had dinner with the company and the CEO and the CFO and a bunch of their upper level management. And this is pretty customary for these types of events. The lead bank puts on the presentation, invites all the other banks, and then we'll do a dinner with the company afterwards. So just by chance, I sat next to the CFO and across from the CEO of the company. And the CEO has been in his previous role, he was the CEO of a Fortune 100 company, super successful. Everybody in the food industry knows him, and just by name. And everybody says the same thing. They just love him. He's a great, great leader, great person, and I got to experience that firsthand. He uh, we had read a lot of the same books. He talked about his leadership mentality, what he guides that from, and then throughout the conversation, he yeah, in the dinner, like 15 or 20 people, we were just talking, and it came up that uh, he implicitly said that he was a Christian, uh, and started to talk. He told a story with that in mind, and it made a whole lot of sense to me. Like he was just a light the entire time, and I got that sense from him when I met him a few hours beforehand, and then when he said that, it did not surprise me at all. So it was just incredible to be able to, one, have the opportunity to go on this trip with the company. Grateful that I got invited, and then just by chance I got to sit next to these very important people, so to speak. But it was really cool.
Sweet, sweet. Awesome. So was that the same podcast for the guy that you sent?
Yeah, so the later that night I just started looking him up, and I found a podcast about um a faith and investing podcast that he was on, and he pretty much just talked about uh what he what it means to him to lead a company and be a light in corporate America. And a lot of the things that I had heard him talk about throughout the day, he I didn't listen to on the podcast with a more explicit view on Christianity. But one of the things he talked about was just as Christians, as leaders, as Christian leaders, we're called to be the most efficient we can be, use resources, use our time, and just living into what God has given to us and living into our gifts. And that's our calling uh, to be able to do what God has planned for us. And in the corporate world, he translated that into just running having a system and a process, making everything very simple, and just being very efficient throughout uh, upper level management, employees, the business processes, the clients he has, the companies he works with. It was all about efficiency and simplicity. And uh, just listening to him for an hour and a half talk at dinner, and I listened to him talk about his company during that presentation was really mind opening to me to see like what that possibilities look like. Uh, so it was just it was incredible.
Yeah, sweet. So I listened to the podcast and I
Mhm.
really liked it. A couple things I took away from it was just like how fast he was able to grow Tyson Chicken. And one of the things that he said was able to grow the company fast was being able to like really care about his employees,
Yes,
which
he
which had like it increased like it was like low turnover and like better company culture and stuff.
and in that he talked about he during in the podcast he also talked about how in when we care for people as Christians, we want them to be safe. We want them to be living into their best life. So one of the things that he prioritizes a lot more than anything is just safety of his coworkers, and maybe doing that too much to where it's uh, too much of an extent, too much energy.
Mhm.
But he just feels like if the workers are safe and they know the purpose, one of the things he did um, was he started telling his employees that they're making food. It's not product. It's food. They're helping the feed America pretty much. So just putting appropriate context to it. So between efficiency, safety, and just living into what God has called us to, all of it was incredible to hear from, and in the corporate world, and then in that podcast, and like that kind of that mix when I talked to him at dinner. So
Yeah,
it was it was really cool.
it did he inspire you to want to become a top dog at a Fortune 100 company one day?
Uh, it kind of got the ball rolling because one of the things I noticed was that him and his management team, like they're just specialized in their company, and they've just been it their whole lives, and they started as interns, or they started as kids working in high school just online, and now they're in C-suite positions. And for me, it was really cool to see the influence he could have on people from a corporate perspective, and just shining a light, being a steward of the kingdom, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah,
So
I mean that's
yeah, I've said that a few times now, but I'm still thinking about it a lot. So
and he was talking with you specifically for an hour.
yes, I sat next to him. So most of the time, or I sat across from him. So most of the time we were going back and forth, but there were other people there. So they were, they were in conversation, but it was uh one of the things I just learned from him. I asked him questions, and he would address the our section of the table most of the time, but I was asking him and like just following up with questions about things he's learned and uh
That's pretty
things
cool.
like
Pretty cool
so,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah, it's good. And yeah, so hopefully we can stay in touch. I don't know what that would look like as an analyst to reach out to a CEO, but I don't want to be that guy. But if there's a more efficient way, we'll see.
Maybe hit him with a LinkedIn request.
Maybe. I don't think he needs LinkedIn. I don't. We'll
Well,
see.
it's a way to stay in touch. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, yeah. That was
Yeah, that's a pretty cool experience.
it was really cool for me to see, and it was cool to see like the direct influence he had on so many people, and just the ability to be a good leader and a good uh and just do that from the faith perspective. So
Mhm. Sweet.
mhm.
Cool, cool. Well, diving into topic number 2, I wanted to get an update on if you have started reading the book on breaking the habit of being yourself and where you're at with that. And if you haven't, what book are you currently reading and what are you getting from it?
Okay. Uh, I am currently in the process of reading Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I'm in chapter 2 or 3, so not very far along. Uh, Previously, I was reading that textbook for my Series 63 test, which I passed. Uh, so getting into this book, and uh, thoughts are, it's interesting. I don't know, like he uses science to back things up, but I don't know if it's grounded in. It seems kind of a pseudoscience. I don't know if it's grounded in tests and hypothesis carried out by data collection and conclusion. Well, at least so far, I think the what I've been reading is and he's talking a lot about the energy that exists in this world and being on the same frequency and being able to manifest, or I don't think he uses that term, but just when you're his idea is that if you since everything in the world is connected through energy, because we're all made of atoms which are 99% energy, 1% or less than 1% like actual material, so everything in the universe is just energy. So he's saying like if you put out energy regarding like things that you want to happen, then it's more likely that they will happen, because the universe has this. You put out the energy into the universe, and then it comes to fruition. So I think it's an interesting idea. Is it a real science? I don't I
Yeah.
don't think so, but
Interesting.
uh is it? Yeah, I think internally, one of the things that I can take away from it is that is that if your brain and your heart are not aligned, then they're not going the same way, they're not on the same frequency, then there's no growth, and you get sidetracked, and the waves, whether they're actual energy waves or just things that we're calling like aligning your priorities, if they're not aligned, then there's no growth. So he talked about how having when you do something, when you say something, have it let there be conviction in your brain and your heart with how you carry out, and that will lead to change. It's when you do things halfway that nothing really happens. So
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah, what are your thoughts? So have you read the entire book?
yeah, yeah, I did. One thing I thought was interesting was he opened up the book by talking about how there's these molecules that they study, and that they only start vibrating when you focus on them.
Yeah, electrons.
Yeah. And I thought that was cool. Is like when like they can tell by looking at, I guess, the electrons, they can tell if somebody is focusing on them or not, because we're able to give off energy. And
Mhm.
that was enough science for me to.
The background on that is that the an atom is it's the proton and the neutron and then the electron cloud, and the electron cloud takes up most, if for all intensive purposes, the volume of the atom, and it's mostly just energy. The electron is going in the electron cloud, but there's nothing like that. So when they focused in on a certain location in the electron cloud, the electron would appear after looking at it. So it's that yeah. Continue.
No, I mean, I just thought that was cool. That was enough. That was enough
Mhm.
like science for my brain to be like, okay, yeah, quantum field works, and um, the whole like law of attraction works. And I mean,
Mhm.
I'm a big believer in quantum energy. I'm a believer in faith and how like God is working behind the scenes to make everything kind of come together. But I'm also a believer in the quantum field, where like your intentions have energy, and I'm a believer in the law of attraction, to where you can, as you start to visualize your goals and as you start to work closer to your goals, you can start to pull them into reality, so to speak. Uh, so I'm a big believer in that, and that's something that I really like. I mean, I find it fascinating.
Yeah, if you have goals, then and you take steps towards them, they will become closer.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I think my takeaway from that would be just the most important thing is have goals, know have a direction to run in, and know what you're running after, because there are things that if you're just running in place or not running with any goals, then you're not going to get anywhere. So mhm.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, topic number three, what you got?
I signed up for a 10K in Boulder, Colorado, 2 weeks from tomorrow, and my I run probably once or twice a week. I'll run like 8 or 10 miles. I've gone as long as 14. Usually, I run in the 6 to 8 range once a week, maybe a shorter run twice a week, and or a shorter run another time that week. So I've been thinking of an appropriate goal to run this 10K in Colorado and what I should strive for. Now, now I pretty much have 2 weeks to prepare. If I do everything the next 2 weeks to where I show up on race day to run my fastest, uh, what would be a good goal? What would I do? So I've been processing what would be what that time I should shoot for. I'm also processing my training, what my food intake will look like. I'm thinking if I can drop a few pounds, that's gonna increase my speed, and just trying to shoot for that. So on Saturday uh, and Friday and Saturday, I ran 6 miles, and I was around. And I'll preface this: Thursday I lifted legs, Friday ran 6 miles, Saturday ran another 6 miles. So my legs were pretty juiced. but I ran 6 miles in 47 minutes on Saturday. Um, so I'm trying to think, okay, now if I'm going to elevation, but being fresh and also having this 2 week time frame where I train for it, what would be a good goal? So I want to hear what your thinking is for a goal, also how you would go about the next 2 weeks in terms of training, not overtraining, something like that.
Yeah, uh, I like it, and I'll be back in Boulder. I want to sign up for the 10K too. Just I don't know. I think that'd be fun. I'm gonna be back in Boulder for Memorial Day, so I'll
Uh-huh.
rip it as well. I'll give you a run for your money. I'll run it in 40 minutes. But yeah, I mean, first thing I thought of was how swimmers, what they do before like a big event, before a big race, is they have this like period, they have this like 1 to 2 day period where they don't do anything and they just let their body recover. And I
Mhm.
would say I've had the athletic achievements to back up my thoughts, just kind of like reflecting on how I would do it. And I think um like a week out, and it's just my thoughts, like a week out, you do a 10K and then not run for the whole week leading up to it and just kind of like stretch and hydrate and all that good stuff. But
You
um
don't think I should run for a full week?
I don't know, dude. I mean, maybe like a light jog, but
Yeah, I think
I don't know. Like, I don't know how fast legs recover. Again, I'm not a runner. I don't know what the best route is. However, I do think having goals around a 10K and wanting to win, I think that's awesome.
because I'm trying to punch it,
Yeah,
and
as you should.
usually when I run I don't punch it. I am chatting, I'm hanging out, I go about my day after. But if I kind of just empty the tank, I want to see what I could do because I ran that 5K in 19 minutes in November. Was it 19 minutes? Yes, it was 6:15 miles for the 10K or for the 5K. So yeah, 19 minutes makes sense. So uh, I think I would be very happy if I ran the 10K and I averaged a mile pace under 6 minutes 59 seconds.
Yeah.
That's kind of the number that's popped into my head.
So one thing our dad has mentioned to me, I don't know if he's mentioned it to you as well, but our dad was a pro cyclist. He was on the US cycling team. And he said, don't track time, track heart rate for cardio stuff. Because
Yeah.
for when you have like a wearable technology that tracks heart rate, you can stay in that 160 beats per minute for 40 minutes. That's a better stat to track than, oh, I'm gonna see if I can be under 7 minutes per mile, because you don't want to go off and your first mile be at 185 beats per minute, because you won't be able to withstand that heart rate for that long.
No, but running races are measured in time. They're not measured in heart rate.
Yes, yes, I agree. And obviously, you're gonna want to have the fastest time possible. But um, do you have a heart rate tracker you think you'll use?
I've got the Whoop, so I can check it on my phone
That
as
would
I run.
That's probably not the move.
But I don't think it's only 6 miles. It's not a crazy long distance, and I run enough to know what my heart rate is. I think it's more just how should I target my training?
Well, like, how do you know what time you're gonna be at? Like, 2.5 miles in, how are you gonna know if you're on pace to get your goal?
Uh, uh, that's a good That's a good question. So maybe I just get a stopwatch or a
Have like a little like football coach stopwatch around your neck.
maybe I get like a Garmin watch just for like I use Dad's just for the time being.
No,
Uh, or maybe that there'll be like things on the course, but I'm excited for it. Uh, I want to I want to see what I can do, and uh, yeah, the so it's nothing crazy. I think I run 6 miles once a week, if not more. So it's not going to be anything from it. That won't be challenging. It's going to be letting it all letting it all out and going at a faster pace than I'm usually going. So I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah, cool.
hmm hmm So I think I ran 6 miles yesterday, 6 miles Friday. I didn't run today. I think I'm gonna run. I might run like light tomorrow, longer one Tuesday. Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna find out.
Cool.
hmm
Cool. Well, since it's been a little 2 week gap, I say we do a bonus fourth topic for our guests
All
for
right, what do
for
you
our
got?
for our downloads. Um, so one question I selfishly want to talk to you about, but I also think it's a good topic, is last week. So it was like 2 weeks ago. Um, I went into the office on Sunday, and I had a lot I had to get done, and I was like, I just have to go in on Sunday to get it done. And I was on meetings and doing appointments, and I want to know what your thoughts are on working on a Sunday. And I'll pre-frame this by talking about how about a month ago I didn't have enough activity in my business. And activity in the business that I'm in relates to cash flow. And I remember I was praying to God. I was like, God, like, could you help me out with, like, could you bless me with more appointments? Like, I remember praying to Him and asking God for more appointments and for more activity in my business. And I got it. And I then got appointments being booked on Sunday. And I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be working on Sunday. But at the same time, I was praying for these appointments. So I didn't feel like I like morally and like my faith, I didn't feel like I was in the wrong working on a Sabbath. But I'm curious to hear, do you work on Sundays, and or how do you view Sundays in regards to the Sabbath?
Good question. I think if I usually, I think in your situation, if not working on a Sunday is a priority and you want to value the Sabbath, there's 6 other days in the week that you can be productive. And if there's other work that you need to get done that's not urgent, you can prioritize that Monday or Saturday. And I think that there is enough time in 6 days to get done what you need to get done. Uh, that being said, like sometimes there are deadlines that you need to hit and you need to work. In terms of the Sabbath, that was something that I used the Sabbath in college as something that in the off season when I could, I just use usually Sunday, sometimes Saturday, just based on schedule. But I would just have one day a week when I wouldn't do any school or any baseball, and I would just hang out or watch TV or go on a run or work out. But I really liked one day a week to where I could just completely relax. And in my job now, I haven't needed to work on a Sunday, maybe once or twice. But I think there's definitely time Monday through Saturday to get things done, and the rest itself is very important. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's where my thoughts went.
Yeah, one thing as I was thinking about this, one thing I saw that Alex Ramosi tweeted out yesterday, he said if something increases your output per unit of time, then it was productive. And he was giving the example of resting for him and watching TV allowed him to recharge and it increased his output per unit of time.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at this in terms of like resting on a Sunday and recharging, making us more efficient for the 6 other days in the week, then that was a day spent productively.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely something I'm working on and trying to find the balance there because the goal is to live the best life possible. The goal is not to make as much money as possible. So I want to make sure I'm doing whatever's going to help me get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you completely block off Sundays and don't allow appointments at that time, then that's the boundary you need to set. And I think with your situation, you prayed for more business, and I think you it, God answered your prayer, but he also allowed you to choose. He said
Yeah.
he's not and he's not going to force you to do anything. So I think the I don't agree with that you felt morally free from working on a Sunday because you prayed about more business and got more business. That there's a lot more going on. Like God could have said, like, hey, you want more business? Well, like, let's see where your priorities are. Like, let's I'm gonna you prayed for more business, I'm gonna answer your prayer. Well, now you have a 10 a.m. client and you can't go to church. You happy, Jeff? Like, is this what you wanted? Uh, so I don't think you should. Uh, I don't. If taking a Sabbath is a big, like a full day on Sunday not to work, is a value to you, and then you prayed that you wanted more work, and then you worked on a Sunday, and then said that God did this so it can be good, then like I don't agree with that. But if you allow yourself to say, hey, I'm going to work from 1 to 5 on Sundays, and that's what you want to do, then great. I think there's value in rest, there's value in work. I think it's one of those things where you gotta listen to your body. The Bible does tell us uh, that the Sabbath is holy. So, uh, yeah, I feel like I'm speaking in circles here, but
Yeah.
uh, it's difficult. It's difficult, but I don't think I don't think you should you should feel morally justified because you prayed about it and then decided to do business on a Sunday. I just think there's more going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And that makes sense. And I don't know what the right answer is, but yeah, again, just trying to figure it out. And that's I think that goes to one of our themes of the podcast is like we don't know what the answers are.
Yeah, well, I think the I'm trying to decipher like what the Bible says about Sunday, and like in the Old Testament, with creation, God rested on Sunday. Pharisees said, like, keep the Sabbath holy, don't work on a Sunday. But then Jesus came and he used the new covenant. And I think if you want to work on Sundays, and I think going to church and being in community with other Christians is important. But I think outside of that time, if you're it's up to you and God. I don't think there's going to be a clear answer to being able to say no to Sundays or yes to Sundays. Like, I think that's up to you and him. But I do think that there's community in Christ is very important. That's a non-negotiable. But beyond strictly church time, I think that's where you have interpretation. I think that's where you can pray about stuff like this.
Hmm. And our perspectives, like most things, will probably change on the subject too.
Yeah, I mean, right now we don't have kids. You have a long distance girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. Like, if we're going to be productive and we're going to glorify God in what we do, then who cares if it's on Sunday? Like, is that is Sunday? And like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I went to church today, and I don't want to make this like a legalist thing, but I had a great time at church. I like talked with some people, caught up with people that I hadn't talked to in a while. It's like, what's the harm in working at 2 p.m. on a Sunday? Like, is there any harm in that? But if I go about it like that, then okay, why don't I just do it 8 a.m. Monday? If there isn't any harm in it, then I'll just do it 8 a.m. Monday. I don't know. I don't know. um, I
Yeah.
think it it comes down to you and your relationship and what you value, or not. I mean, we value the same things, but I think it's between you and God ultimately.
Hmm. Yeah. Again, don't know the answers, just trying to figure it out. But
Yeah, yeah,
I did choose to work on a Sunday, and yeah, I mean, trying to do it all. That's kind of our lives. We're trying to just fit it all in, and we've always been busy. But anyway, to wrap things up for the podcast today, uh, how have you been investing the only two resources you can control, your time and your money? How have you been investing those recently?
time. Uh, Great weekend. Work's been busy. Traveling with work, that's uh been a lot of my time. So I'd say Friday evening and today, I'm investing my time by just resting. I'm just really excited for the next hour and a half, 2 hours before I go to bed to just watch TV, because I don't get that opportunity a lot. And Friday, same thing. I went and got dinner with my friends, and then was home at 10:30 and just rested. And both Saturday and Sunday were packed with things, with seeing friends and uh, going to dinner and catching up with people. So it was a good weekend. So that's how I'm investing my time. I think that the rest piece is something I've been looking forward to for a long time. Dating back before my test, I knew that I go from my test to San Francisco to another week of work. So this weekend has been a good, restful weekend. I've been doing a lot, but it's been restful. How I've been investing my money, same thing. I am exploring what it would look like to open a brokerage account, and not a retirement account, just something that would provide me a good safe return for a potential large investment 5 to 10 years down the road, and exploring that, what it would look like. So
like a storehouse to get yourself ready so that you could have somewhere to like have a fund that you build up so that 5 years down the road when the opportunity does come, you can.
yeah, so not like different than just a savings account and not a retirement account, just an account that may like a brokerage account that's liquid that potentially mimics S&P, that when like I'm thinking like I'll have the funds in the future to invest in a potential home or a business opportunity. I want to do what's best in the meantime with my money, so I'm best positioned when that time comes. So, been exploring that, what it would look like, and uh, yeah, that's how I've been doing and investing in money. So,
Grant Cardone calls that his sacred account.
okay,
So yeah, I
what
don't
is
know.
it?
On the Chase app or on really any app, you can name your bank accounts. I don't know if you name your checking account or your savings account, but my savings account, I name my sacred account. Just
The
for like,
savings account is the sacred account. Well, I'm not talking about a savings account. I want to have my emergency, my rainy day fund, which is in my savings account. But I'm young, so I want to put any money beyond that savings. I want to put it to work in something. So,
yeah.
but I don't want to put. I want to have it available earlier than retirement. So,
Well, Apple and Goldman Sachs new bank account has a 4% return on it. It's pretty insane.
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that.
It's become pretty popular. Cool. Good to hear. Um,
Mhm. What
what
about
I
you?
Yeah, what I'd say how I'm investing my money is as of recent, I've been purchasing tickets and buying Airbnbs for the two bachelor parties I'm going to coming up. One of them's at the end of May, so in 2 weeks, and there's another one in about a month. And getting ready for those, and why I say it's investing my time, or I mean, why I say it's investing my money is because it's in relationships. And as I was looking at this, I was like thinking about it from my 85-year-old self. And like, if I were 85 and I were to give myself advice, I was like, I would rather have a quality relationship with somebody that takes time out of their business, takes time out of their life to go spend time with me over having more money. And if I apply that to this situation, like I'm going to take time out of my business and out of my life so I can spend time with my quality friends. And
Mhm.
I think that's an investment, not necessarily a financial investment, but it's an investment
Yeah.
in relationships because um, I'm a big relationship guy, and that's something that I value.
Yeah, that was one thing that one of my best friends in college and I talked about. We had we got up every day, lifted, went to class, went to practice, ate dinner, studied, and when most people went and studied the rest of the night, we went to athletes in action. And the way he thought about it was like, I'd rather have all these great relationships than a higher GPA. Like it.
Okay.
So there's always going to be sacrifices, but for him it was no. I want to put time into relationships. Like who cares if my GPA is a 3.7 versus a 3.5 or 3.5 versus a 3.3? So
Yeah.
there's always going to be trade offs, whether it be school, professionally, financially. So, but again, we're not telling anybody what decision to make. It's just there are decisions out there.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, that's how I'm investing my money. Investing time, more of the same. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just piling my deposits of my time into a compounding vehicle. Yeah, so not necessarily seeing the fruits of all of my labor now, but again, that's the whole thing with compound pounding is you don't see the benefits until later down the road. But it's good and it's fun and it's exciting. And that wraps up another episode of the Erickson Brothers Podcast. Matt, closing thoughts before we call it a day.
Closing thoughts. Looking forward to another week. Just loving life right now. So
yeah, in a good flow.
Just grateful for everything that I have.
And and happy Mother's Day to all of our moms out there listening in to this podcast.
Our dog moms, our cat moms, our hot moms, our soccer moms, everyone out there.
Yeah, our future moms,
future grandmas, whatever it may be. Did you talk to Alma? I did.
No, I've not talked to Alma yet.
You're running out of time, dude.
Yeah.
Give Alma a call.
All right, I'll give her a call. Right now.
All right.
All right. We'll see you later.
See ya.